Hi and welcome to the channel. My name's Bill, and this here is my 98 Chevy 2500. Just an old truck. I just got this camper shell for it, and my plan is to do a truck camper build in the back. I've gone today to the hardware store and got some supplies, and we're going to get started today. So let me show you what I've got here in the back. So I have got 4 sheets of 1/2 inch thick extruded polystyrene insulation, and I'm going to be gluing it to the roof and the sides of this fiberglass topper. I think it's going to work out pretty good. I've done a lot of planning and thinking about how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to be adhering it with this PL Max Premium construction adhesive. There is a PL 300 that's designed for foam board, but I don't believe it's nearly not as near of a strength holding. I can't talk right now. It's not as high of a strength, and I know for a fact that it isn't rated to as high of a temperature, and so my concern is the temperature that this stuff reaches. I just don't want to do all this work and it come down later. So I've done a ton of research, and this PL Max Premium is rated for extruded and expanded polystyrene, so it is okay to use. The problem is you have to use unfaced polystyrene. The cheaper polystyrene has it's either polyurethane or polyethylene. I'm not sure which, so you can't quote me. But it has a film, a coating, an outer layer. And that, a lot of people say, well, you can't use this stuff, it burns foam. No, it burns the outer layer of the foam. But the polystyrene, it will not burn. So you gotta make sure you get unfaced polystyrene. And you can see this stuff comes with like a little plastic film on it too. And you gotta remove that plastic film. And if you do those steps, this PL Max will work out really good. Now, once all of the foam is installed in here, I'm going to carpet it, just like what you see one of these toppers typically carpeted in the gray trunk liner type material. And so I'm going to be using the 3M90 contact adhesive to attach the carpet to polystyrene, and follow along with me. It's either going to work or it's not, but I have a really good feeling that it's going to work pretty good. The other stuff that I've got here is any corners and stuff. I'm going to shoot a little bit of this in before I carpeted it, just to give a nice even surface. Got a cotton line, I've got a razor knife, and then the other thing that I got 10 of these 3/8 inch 4-foot long wood dowels, as you can see. And I'll try to put it all the way at the back here, and you can see that's long enough. I'm going to be able to use these dowels. I'll have to cut some of them up, but I'll be able to wedge them up where I need them to support the foam board until the PL Max cures. And I got, what else did I get? It's hard to see under this foam sheet. You can see there's a whole roll of the Reflectix type material there. I'm going to use it to make window shades for all these windows, included this back window. And those are just some temporary shades that I threw together. Obviously they're falling apart. It's an old windshield shade that had gotten wet, and that's why it looks so terrible. But first and foremost, got all this stuff. I'm going to work on all of it today. But my first project is the two slider windows, that window and that window. They're leaking. Pretty standard for a cap of this age. This cap's over 20 years old, and they sealed them with like a 3M type foam double-sided tape, and most of that tape is still holding pretty good all the way around here. We got a nice tight bond with the window, but up here at the top edge you can see that I can depress this separate of the window. It's hard to tell, but it's leaking down through here. Same on the other side, so I've got to pull both these windows out, and I've got a roll of 3/8 inch butyl tape that I'm going to use to seal that. Once again, I did a lot of research. A lot of people do a lot of different techniques to seal those. I've seen people use rubberized actual gasket material. They have a lot of trouble pushing the windows back in. Sometimes they get it too thick. I've seen people use like silicone type materials. My fear with that is that it would make it a lot harder to remove later. It could bond hard enough to this fiberglass edge it could break it when I try to take it apart. But the butyl tape will be a terrible mess if I ever have to remove this, but it will come apart, and I think it will hold up and seal well. These two windows here, so far so good. I don't seem to have any leaks. Front window, I don't seem to have any leaks. So we're going to seal this window and this window. Got some rain coming later this week, and I'll reevaluate. These windows would be no big deal if I need to take them out. That window up there ain't going to be a bit of a big deal. I may end up with Flex Seal tape around that sucker if it leaks, because I have already pulled this cap back and moved it twice since I set it. I don't want to have to repurchase all the foam that I have surrounding it underneath. So my goal is to not take this topper off again. We'll see how that goes for me. So I'm going to get some of this stuff unloaded and get started, and I'll check back in with you as I'm trying to get these windows out. Okay, so I'm inside. I got all my crap cleaned out of the truck, and I thought I'd sit down. I'm in this chair, and I just wanted you to see that there's a lot of height in this tall truck top. I'm halfway back it, and so all the way, it's a pretty flat, really. When you kind of look at it, it's pretty flat to about here, and then it starts its curvature. It doesn't drop a lot till in this area, so I can sit a good ways back and still have a lot of headroom. My bed will end up probably being a bit shorter than this chair here. Bed is planned to be the height of the fenders. We'll see. It's hard for me to see the angle that you guys just saw, so I'll have to look at that on the computer and see. But I'm fairly sure I'm going to drop another inch or so if I sit directly on that fender well. Alright, so all the stuff's out. My next step is to take all of these perimeter bolts. Some of them look a little crappy, but it's been leaking a lot, so I gotta get all those out. Probably gonna have to grab some tape and put a couple pieces of tape on the outside. The cap leans in at an angle, so I don't expect the window to just fall out, but I do know my luck, and I don't want to have to go buy a window. So I'll check back with you when I've got the screws out and the window frame pulled off, and hopefully the window's still in the cap. Alrighty, that wasn't too bad. You can see here I got all the way around off looking like it's in fairly good shape. So I'll go outside and see if I can pop the window out. Alright, well I got her out. Wasn't too bad. They almost cut almost too small of a hole. A lot of people talk about how it kind of clips in. I don't think that's by design when they build these. Just as soon as they can fit it in, they fit it in. They're not using butyl using that other stuff. So I imagine they leave the backing on it until they place it, and then we'll go around the edge and peel the backing so they can fit it kind of at an angle and wiggle it in there, you know. But yeah, not too bad. I'm not going to do as others and do a bunch of edge grinding to make it pop right in there. I mean, hell, I got a real straight line. I mean, like I said, just a little finesse wiggling in there. I have to be careful. What's amazing though is that, so the top, this looks like original windowsill, and this top edge stuff is just brittle and cracking the foam part of it. But whatever adhesive they used, it's still sticky to the touch. And then the bottom side, which was sealed, it all still looks freaking brand new, and both sides are still sticky. I can stick it there and it still wants to stick. So it's incredible how long the foam did hold up. So if you just want to put your topper back the way that it came, which I understand, then you can go get that foam tape. Don't worry about what all these people online say, oh, it ain't for sealing water out. I mean, clearly the people who made this topper felt like it would last long enough, and like I said, that bottom edge just still looks good. So the difference between using the butyl tape I got and using this stuff is that you're gonna pay, it's gonna be $80 probably. I don't know, maybe not 80, I don't know, I'm not gonna say. It's gonna be over $50 or $60 for sure to get a roll of that stuff long enough to do both these windows. So the butyl tape I spent $8 on, and I got way too much. This is the only roll I could buy. So I'm going to clean these edges up. Probably, I'm going to put this window back in all the way before I do the other window. So I'm going to clean these edges up, get the butyl tape out, and apply it. And then I'll check back in with you right before I put the tape on. Or actually put the window in. Alright, I had to put my hat on. It's getting hot in the sun. But I got the edges cleaned up. Got everything clean with acetone. Clean and dry. Ready for new seal. Same on this. She's all clean and dry. That's a bunch of junk from where the two pieces meet. And I'm just gonna lay right over the top of that. That is the bottom edge. So something I wanted to address. I've seen a couple people that have done this job on YouTube. I watched videos just like you're probably doing now before I did this job to make sure I knew what I was getting into. And I've seen a bunch of people, they're either forgetting their window orientation while they're working with them and moving the windows around. Perhaps they were in that way from the beginning, but I've seen a bunch of people put their windows in upside down. You got these little gaps at the bottom of the window here. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but these are to drain water out of the channel. Any water that gets past any of these little seals and ends up in that channel, or condensation on the inside of the window as it rolls down it, in the morning, it's going to collect in that channel. And if these are at the top, they can't drain. So you want to make sure to put those at the bottom. This is the butyl tape I'm using. It's 3/32, I guess, is the width of it, or the height of the material, 3/8 wide. And so obviously I got a whole big ass roll. Should be enough, I hope. It's gray. I was hoping it would be black, but it's gray. Doesn't matter. I'm going to paint this cap white at another stage. So I'll check back in when I've got the butyl tape applied before we try and pop it in the window. Alrighty, as you can see, I've got the butyl tape on. I've got a double layer on the top side. I probably would not recommend the brand that I showed you. I'll show you the package again. I got stuff sitting on it right now. But it was very difficult to work with. This package, a bunch of it's melted together. You know what I mean? Like when you try to peel one off, it's trying to peel multiples off, and it kind of destroyed it in places. And it was just not very good. So maybe finding a better butyl tape, or maybe not going this direction. I don't know. But I'm getting ready to put it in the side, and I don't have high hopes for that going well after how difficult this is going. But we're gonna see. Woo-wee, it's getting hot. Man, alright, I'm back inside the truck. got a little wonky there, just like I thought it would. The problem is that when you sit these windows in, they want to drop all the way on the bottom. That ain't where you want them. You want to lift them slightly, so it's kind of, that stuff's real gooey. I put extra on. I put a double layer at the top, like I said, so if something like that happened, as I squished it around, it wouldn't get too thin on me. But I got all of my perimeter bolts in. I did not put my little window shade. These are just some lanyards that I've gotten over there. The cleanest lanyard, or stereo lanyards, down Sundown Audio. So just, I don't use lanyards, but I made them across the bolts like this so that I could slip window shades in. But I'm not worried about doing that right now. I can stick them back in later. You just pull 2 bolts out. And I was more concerned about getting this thing set because I was having to lift up on the bottom of it and then tighten some screws to get it to hold, and then hurry up and try to get the perimeter on. So let's go outside and see what we look like. So, and this is exactly what I was hoping for, is it's squishing out all the way down. Perfect. And I wanted a lot of squish at this front edge, which I got it. And so now I'm going to go back with like a razor knife and just real carefully just cut that edge and kind of clean it up, and fingers crossed I'll do the other side, and hopefully I don't have no more window leaks in the back, because I'm going to build a bed back here and all my stuff, my clothes. I don't want all that getting wet. But we're going to find out midweek. We're supposed to get some rain, so I got to get cracking. I'm going to try to get a whole lot done today. So I'm back in the truck. This side's complete. I got the edge trimmed so it looks real nice, but I wanted to show you, I just took the trim off this side and I'm getting ready to pop it out, but I wanted to show you the difference. And you can see this bottom edge along here, and how when they put the window in, they set it in the window opening, so it literally it's set down all the way in there. And you see there's a significant, the screws are right even with the edge of the fiberglass. And here you see the screws are a 1/4 inch below the edge of the fiberglass, and they missed half their seal. I've actually got a bad leak going, and if you look down here, you see where it's still black. There's a little bit of brown there, but it's all coming from right there. One spot. You can see daylight through it even, I think. Yeah, if I push on it. That's the only spot that this window was leaking. And it's 100%, I feel like, because these windows were sit down like that. I'm going to try to find a coin or some kind of wedge of some kind that when I set this one in, I don't have to come back inside and try to lift it up. I think maybe if I stick a screw or 2 in it, that the screws may hit. No, that'd still be too low. It'd just sit where it is now. Yeah, I'll come up with something and report back. I got the second window out, cleaned, and got the butyl tape on it. So the trick that I come up with for doing the windows so they don't fall down in there is that I'm putting 2 pennies with a little bit of the butyl tape to hold them in place there, over here. So I'm hoping that'll get it sit where I want it, and then I'm going to pull those pennies out from the inside when I'm ready. So you can see that's holding that up. It's actually off of it back here. I'll have to figure that out. It kind of stuck on this back edge a little far, and it needs to slide forward a bit, but that's not a big deal. So this driver's side window, man, it just laid down so perfectly close all the way around. So I'm real happy with that one. I just didn't ball the butyl rubber up in any spots. This spot, you can see it's really fucking thick, and it's because I just didn't, I don't think I laid it on in a nice flat bead, because it's very hard to work with, and I was still trying to figure it out. It's sucked down real good in this corner on the passenger side, and in this corner there's a bit of a gap though at the top, and at the back. But as you can see, it's full of that butyl, so we're just going to see how it works out. But that's both windows in and sealed. Probably going to take me a break, get something to eat, and then come back out here. And I want to start cutting some of that foam up and trying to fit some pieces in the ceiling how I'm going to want to fit them. And we'll see how that goes. You're dirty. There you guys are, nice and clean, sort of. So I'm going to show you what, it's insulation time. Our two windows are now sealed. You can see the condition of my truck cap, it's not bad. I mean, this is at least 22 years old probably. But all that's up here is a bunch of dirty spots where they rubbed stuff against it over the years, putting stuff in here, and then some of them are dirty spots where condensation probably happened. When I first, in my head, envisioning what I was going to do to this to insulate it, I thought, well, I'll get some of that Kills mold paint and I'll clean all this off with acetone, paint it all so it's good and sealed, and then glue the insulation of that. Well, then I started thinking about it, so it's good and sealed. I mean, it's fiberglass. It's good and sealed. I'm going to take and wipe all this shit down with acetone. I'm going to glue the PL adhesive right to it and cover it with the insulation. Chances are I'll never have any trouble with it. So let me show you what my plan is for placing the insulation. So you can see this roof is not even. This piece is lower, and it actually kind of works out kind of good the way they've got it laid out, because this surface, and this surface are all on the same plane, relatively. I mean, this is curved a bit, but these are foam strips inside the top. They did that for rigidity. I think some manufacturers may have used wood, but I know for sure that this cap has foam in there. I found a slight void, because there's some voids in this fiberglass, and I poked a very tiny pick that I got through there just to see, and it is foam inside. I was hoping it was wood, because then if I ever wanted to hang anything, from inside here, that's I say a lot. You might not know. But there's a gap there. This rib is, I'm going to say it's about a 1/2 inch thick, maybe 1/4 inch. So you can screw into that, make sure you don't come out the top, and that would give me good anchoring. Now I can still anchor stuff to that, but the foam isn't an anchor. You're only anchoring to that thin layer of fiberglass, so as long as it was something really lightweight, it would be fine. But if it had wood in it, I mean, you could hang a TV mount from it if you wanted to. But I don't want to put any holes to the roof. More on that later, because I may need to attach some things to the roof, but that's for a later day. So the plan is to cut two continuous pieces that go from this edge all the way out to the corner. It'll be wider at the back than it is at the front slightly, I believe. Maybe not. I gotta measure still. But that piece will lay and fit up and be approximately flush with this now. Maybe step down here. Same over here. And then I'll have this centerpiece. I'll have to cut a rib and put it down the middle. So there'll be a center rib that when it's all finished and carpeted, you'll see that center rib. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. The other solution, I guess, I think I'm going to have enough foam. It's not very expensive. Is I could put the strip, and then the piece that I cut here, just make it the full width to cover, and that would give me 1 inch thick of insulation on the sides and only a 1/2 inch thick on that center part. But I only intended to have a 1/2 inch thick anyway, and I want to have plenty. I intend to do the entire sides around the windows, that area from here up because it's going to be a bed frame coming out here. That front, around the window, that front wall, this wall. So I'll need all the insulation I can get. So I'm thinking just the center rib will be fine. But we're going to do this and kind of see how it goes as it goes. Alrighty, I'm back. Got me a little something to eat, got a little rest. Sun's gone down behind the garage a little bit, so I got a little shade. And I wanted to show you what I have going on. So I started cutting up some of my polystyrene, and here's what I got. What you think? There's a nice flat spot for both these pieces to sit on, and it should be in a really good spot to just cap that with a piece. Like I said, I could do a whole width piece now if I really wanted to. I don't want to lose any headroom. So here in a second I might set my little chair in one of these gaps, maybe move one of these dowels, evaluate where my headroom is at now, and then, I don't know, evaluate whether or not I want to cut down a full piece and put it up there, just to see. It may be worth it to have one smooth piece, but I really don't think it's going to be the way to go, because I do not want to lose a bunch of head height. But we've started. Not looking too bad. It comes all the way to the back, and then these are just little pieces you can see wedged in here, and they're going to be the right height to kind of, if I glue them in there, that's, a strip that's going to work just right. So we'll check back. Whew, I'm tired. Doesn't seem like I did that much, but I'm tired. So this is where we're leaving off. I've got these two pieces adhered in there. Honestly, I think this construction adhesive, I've only used 3/4 of the tube, half the tube. I could probably use more and try to put more up tonight, but I just want to let these pieces cure and check them out, make sure that they're going to work and everything, and then I'll go. I mean, it ain't worth me saving $5-10 on adhesive just to get a bunch done tonight. Wish I hadn't. So I'm going to go in and sit down and let this stuff cure. It says 24 to 48 hours depending on temperature and humidity. I'm at the low end of the humidity scale, but in the higher end of the temperature scale, so I think tomorrow I should be able to take these off. Foam board is extremely light. Got some squeeze out on one corner that I can check in the morning and see how hard that stuff is. But yeah, so far so good. We got sealed windows. We got our makings of a insulated roof. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll get some more progress tomorrow, perhaps. Let's see, it might be thunderstorming. We'll find out when we wake up. Signing off.